Hi loves! I have such exciting news for you guys today, and I hope this video inspires you to do what I've just done this past week. So, in this mystery jar, I, on the 6th of last week, embarked on my first kombucha brewing endeavor, if you will. A friend of mine who's a chef here in Los Angeles had an extra SCOBY, which is the symbiotic cultures, basically the fungus that grows, enabling you to brew and ferment kombucha. Now, the mother, the SCOBY, isn't the most photogenic piece of culinary creations, but it is quite magnificent because without it, no kombucha. So there it is right here, and basically when he gave that to me, it was stacked up in several layers, maybe about 6, and each time that you make a batch of kombucha, a new layer forms on top of the mother. So essentially what you'll want to do to get more volume out of your jar is peel those layers and give them to friends or anybody who's looking to make some kombucha. So that's what I did. I gave it to 2 of my girlfriends and they're off making their own batches. And with mine, I decided to put a towel over it because here by the beach in the summertime, we're often prone to getting fruit flies. So, excuse me, this will protect my kombucha from getting contaminated by any fruit flies. You could also use cheesecloth. You could use paper towel, but you'll want to use a couple of layers, and the same with the cheesecloth. So any type of fabric or material that still has some pores in it, but fine pores, so that way no insects or pests can get inside, or bacteria get inside here. So how did I do it? Well, I haven't tasted it yet, just so you guys know. I wanted to wait and try it out here. So since that was the 6th and today's the 14th, we're looking at about 7 days, 7-8 days since this has been fermenting. And my friend tells me that usually in about a week he gets a really great tasting kombucha. So we'll try it here together. And so how I did it was I got a 1-gallon jar like this. I got mine from a Cook supply store, but any 1-gallon jar will do. You don't need the lid because you're just going to put a towel and a rubber band over your jar. And basically you want to boil about 1 gallon of water, and you want to put tea bags in. Now most people will tell you to use green tea or black tea, and I kind of went with an in-between. I used an oolong tea, and the oolong tea, I used about 5 tea bags, and once the water boiled, I added in my tea bags, and then I let that steep for a few moments, and I turned the heat off, added in 1 cup of raw cane sugar. You can add any sugar that you'd like, but I recommend using any raw organic sugar, and the raw would be a great one as well. And from there, you just give it a good stir, and then you're gonna, very important step is you're gonna let your tea cool down completely to room temperature. So you really want to make sure that you get your tea perfectly cooled down. You don't want to hurt the mom in any way, okay? So once that's cooled down, it took mine about, I'd say, an hour and a half to 2 hours to fully cool down. So just make sure you allow yourself that patience and time. Just go do other things and let it cool off. Once you have it cooled off, you want to pour your tea into your jar. And once you pour your tea into the jar, the SCOBY, if somebody's given you one, chances are it's already in about 2 cups of leftover kombucha from the batch it originally made. You want to actually add the SCOBY as well as that kombucha reserve into your 1-gallon jar. Now, if your SCOBY didn't have kombucha with it, then you'll want to add at least 2 cups of a kombucha to get it started. So a kombucha that you'd want to use to get it started would be one that wasn't pasteurized, wasn't commercially processed. The smaller batches, some of these smaller brands that you can find at stores and cafes. And the plain original flavor would work best when you're just getting it all started. You can add your own flavors in just a little bit, like basically when you're bottling, like what I'm doing today. So that's it. Just that simple. And then all you do, what I did was I just put a little label saying the date and time that I started my kombucha batch. And then it says, first kombucha, yay. So then from there, you let it sit in a warm, dark place. A friend of mine has his in an area that gets a lot of heat in his kitchen, and it's really dark and it has a door, and this works perfectly for him. I actually keep mine in my test kitchen because I have a dehydrator going in here most of the time. So I just tuck it in back underneath and keep it warm through the dehydrator. Now, you don't need any external extra heat. You just find the warmest spot and darkest spot in your house and you let it sit. Okay, so let's taste this thing. So I grabbed a separate bottle. Two things. When you're bottling the kombucha and also when you're bottling it for you to drink, you really want to make sure you're using the most cleanest, most sterile jars. So definitely do your due diligence there. And the other thing is, my friend recommended that we use distilled water over any other type of water, and I used filtered water because that's what I had at home. So it worked just fine from the smell of it, but let's taste it and see what happened. So I kind of experimented with things. People say use black or green tea. I tried oolong. People say try distilled water. I'm trying filtered water. So we'll see how it turned out. Whoa! Wow. So I got several layers on the SCOBY. I don't know if you can see that. There's like about four new layers that grew on top. Whoa! So I'm going to use a funnel, and in my jar, here, I'll try to scoot that back. There we go. Basically, at this point, if you want to add any flavor into your jar, then you're going to want to do that now in the bottling process. And I've always wanted to make my first batch be ginger. So all I did was peel some ginger and then chopped it. So I'm going to add that to the bottom of my jar. So I read that actually adding fruit to your juice, to your kombucha, will allow it to be more fizzy, because a lot of times when you home brew, you don't get that extra fizziness unless you let it ferment for several days longer, or when you add things like roots or fruits and things like this. So we're testing that out as well. So I added in just a wee bit of ginger, as you can see on the bottom. And my lover just ate the last of the blueberries in his breakfast this morning, but I was going to reserve that for this kombucha. He didn't know. It's okay this time. So I'll go ahead and go to the farmer's market in just a little bit here and grab some fresh berries. Maybe some raspberries and ginger would be a great combination. Okay, so here it goes. It smells great. It smells very much like a traditional kombucha that you buy in the store. I don't have the easiest pouring jar, so sometimes if you could find one that doesn't have such a big spout, you might be in luck. Oh my goodness. So I'm pretty amazed at this whole process. Whoa! It's bubbling up. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I poured it in, and it's looking quite fizzy. Whoa! Do you see that? Kombucha! Home brewed. And it only took me a few minutes the other day to brew the tea, last week, and then just let it sit. I mean, aside from the cooling down part of the tea, it really didn't take long at all to make. It smells amazing. I wish you guys could smell it. Okay, so here we go. My first taste test. Got some ginger in there. It's far superior than I ever anticipated. I've tried to pickle things and bottle things in the past and without any luck, which is why I've always been hesitant to make kombucha. Telling you guys the truth here. So I was really scared that I didn't know if I was really going to like my first batch, but I love it. I think that it could even take on a little bit extra vinegar taste. So I'm going to let mine continue to ferment in here. What's left of it. This one I will put in the fridge and just have it as is, because I know my partner's absolutely going to love it like this. And then for myself, give it even more fizziness. Now, from what my friend was telling me, I didn't anticipate to get this much fizz out of my first batch of kombucha, but it fizzed really well. So I think if you were to use a darker tea, you'd get a little bit more of a bolder, more robust flavor. But I love the summer light feel of using the oolong. So play around with this. I think that this would pair tremendously well with pears. So I think if I were to mix pears and ginger together in here, that I would have my most favorite batch of kombucha ever, possibly. So get creative, play around, add whatever types of fruits and roots that you would like to put in your kombucha, make it your own, experiment with different things, try different teas. I know that a lot of recipes and things will tell you stay within black tea, green tea, but this works out and it's delicious. So enjoy, you guys. Have a blast making it. Let me know how it goes. Also, I'd love to hear if you've made kombucha before. Let me know your secrets. What tips do you have for us? And also, if you have extra scobies, then definitely reach out to your friends. It's actually a fantastic way to make new friends. Reach out on your Facebook page and let people know that you have this available, and you might just have new friends coming knocking on your door. All right, you guys, love you so much. Enjoy your day and have fun experimenting with making your own kombucha. Bye.